Rose Garden yesterday to blast the Democrat leadership for leaving town, and in some case, they didn't even just leave town, they left the entire Western Hemisphere before they made sure that the War Supplemental Fund was finished.
Democrat leaders in Congress seem more interested in fighting political battles in Washington than providing our troops what they need to fight the battles in Iraq.
I gotta tell you, you know how fast we could have fought this war? I mean, we could be done by now if the clowns in Washington would stop arguing. The real story is, all of these back and forth political games and power trips have distracted us from the one key phrase that you just heard the president say. Providing our troops what they need. Well, isn't that what this whole thing is really all about? Forget about how our troops got there and the WMDs and blah, 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 blah. It's all in the past, like it or not. The soldiers are there right now, and none of us, and I'll bet you from me all the way to Martin Sheen, want these guys sitting in a foreign country without the training, without the armor, and without even the ability to pay the Iraqis these guys count on every single day. When you cut through all the political bullcrap, the real question that is what actually happens to our troops when the money runs out. An American thinker contributor, Gerd Schroeder, he can tell us exactly what happened because he has seen it firsthand in Iraq, and I want to make it very, very clear. Major Schroeder does not speak for the Army, nor does he speak for the U.S. government. These are his personal opinions and experiences. What happens when the money runs out?
Well, you just have to look back to 2003, September and October 2003. The $87 billion that was allocated by Congress was held up between the State Department and the Department of Defense. And the effects were immediate. The commanders had to prioritize how they would use the money in order to fight the counterinsurgent fight. And if you remember back then, it really wasn't as serious as it is now and as serious as it got in the end of 2004. And my argument is that because commanders had to prioritize and truncate some of the monies that were going towards fighting the counterinsurgents, just to keep going, that the Iraqi population in many parts of Baghdad where we were at, they started to turn more to the terrorists who were using intimidation, attacks, rapes, murders, all sorts of those despicable tactics. In addition, they were using our information against us, saying, look, the Americans, they aren't protecting you, they don't want you, they're not even sending their money to us.
You know, here, the amazing thing is that there are some members in Congress now that are saying, oh, we've got the money to last to July. All they have to do is just redistribute the money and they've got it until July. Any truth to that? I mean, you've got money, but I mean, this is just, it would be a disaster, wouldn't it?
Well, that's not the members of Congress that are saying that, Glenn. That came from the Department of Defense.
No, but it was the Department of Defense, but then they added that means at the end, we won't have troops that have been trained properly. We won't have the things that they need to be able to send them. The next one into combat means the guys who are living there on the ground and living this nightmare right now are going to have to stay longer. But the Democrats in Congress and the members of Congress left that part of that Department of Defense memo out.
Some may have, but you know, this really, like you said before, it's not a political argument. It really isn't, whichever side of the war you're on. But the impact is going to be, and it's probably already started, is that the terrorists can use information operations on their side to influence the population, and they couple that with the brutal tactics that they use, and they have quite a powerful tool. You know, General Petraeus was very clear when he wrote the counterinsurgency manual, and the best ammunition that the counterinsurgent has, and that's us, is money. And when those things don't go to humanitarian aid and to rebuilding projects and to the Iraqi security forces and to maintaining our operation, our maintenance, the vacuum is filled by somebody. Unfortunately, the somebody that fills that vacuum, they're pretty bad people.
You know, it's amazing. I don't know why people don't understand it happening in the Middle East this way. It's exactly what happened to New Orleans when the government wasn't there on time and didn't do what they needed to do. Major, thank you very much. That is a real story tonight. And if you'd like to read more about this, or if you found a real story of your own, please tell us about it. Visit glennbeck.com and click on the Real Story button. Back in